Hello everyone. In this video, we will see how shifts in demand and supply curves affect equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. In this graph, on the vertical axis, we have the price of pizza, and on the horizontal axis, we have the quantity of pizza. We have drawn the demand curve and the supply curve. This is the equilibrium point, where quantity demanded and quantity supplied are equal, and the demand curve intersects the supply curve. At this point, the price is 10 and the quantity is 5. For our analysis, we assume that our product is a normal good, not an inferior good. Now let us see what happened to the equilibrium when the demand curve shifts. Case 1. Rightward shift in demand. Suppose there is a change in a known price factor, such as an increase in consumer income. In this case, the demand curve will shift rightward. As a result, the equilibrium point will shift to the new position. Equilibrium quantity will increase and equilibrium price will also increase. This point is our new equilibrium. Price increases from 10 to 12 and quantity increases from 5 to 6. Case 2. Leftward shift in demand. Suppose there is a change in a known price factor, such as a decrease in consumer income. In this case, the demand curve will shift leftward. This change in demand creates a new equilibrium point in the market. Equilibrium quantity will decrease and equilibrium price will also decrease. This point is our new equilibrium point. Price decreases from 10 to 8 and quantity decreases from 5 to 4. Now let us see what happens to the equilibrium when the supply curve shifts. Case 3. Rightward shift in supply. Suppose there is a change in a known price factor, such as an increase in the number of sellers in the market. In this case, the supply curve will shift rightward. Because of this shift in supply, the market moves to a new equilibrium. Equilibrium price will decrease, but equilibrium quantity will increase. This point is our new equilibrium. Price decreases from 10 to 8 and the quantity increases from 5 to 6. Case 4. Leftward shift in supply. Suppose there is a change in a known price factor, such as a decrease in the number of sellers in the market. In this case, the supply curve will shift leftward. As a consequence, a new equilibrium is established in the market. Equilibrium price will increase, but equilibrium quantity will decrease. This point is our new equilibrium. Price increases from 10 to 12 and the quantity decreases from 5 to 4. Now let us see what happens to the equilibrium price and quantity when demand and supply shift at the same time. In the next 4 cases, the demand and supply curves will shift by equal magnitude. Equal magnitude means that the distance between the initial and shifted demand curve is equal to the distance between the initial and shifted supply curve. Case 5. Rightward shift in demand and supply. If both the demand and supply curves shift rightward and the distance of both shifts is equal, the equilibrium moves to a different point on the graph. In this case, there will be no change in price. In other words, the new price will be equal to the initial equilibrium price. However, equilibrium quantity will increase. This is our new equilibrium point. The new price is equal to the old equilibrium price, which is 10, but quantity increases from 5 to 7. Case 6. Leftward shift in demand and supply. If both the demand and supply curves shift leftward and the distance of both shifts is equal, this shift leads the market to a new equilibrium position. In this case, there will again be no change in price. The new equilibrium price will be equal to the old price, but quantity will decrease. This is our new equilibrium point. The new price is equal to the old price, which is 10, but quantity decreases from 5 to 3. Case 7. Rightward shift in demand and leftward shift in supply. If the demand curve shifts rightward and the supply curve shifts leftward and the distance of both shifts is equal, The combined effect of these shifts result a new equilibrium point. In this case, the new equilibrium quantity will be equal to the old equilibrium quantity, but price will increase. This is the new equilibrium point. The new equilibrium quantity is equal to the old equilibrium quantity, which is 5, but price increases from 10 to 14. Case 8. Leftward shift in demand and rightward shift in supply. If the demand curve shifts leftward and the supply curve shifts rightward and the distance of both shifts is equal, due to these changes, the market settles at a new equilibrium. In this case, equilibrium quantity will remain unchanged, but equilibrium price will decrease. This is the new equilibrium point. Quantity remains the same, which is 5, but price decreases from 10 to 6. In this video, we examined how shifts in demand and supply affect market equilibrium. We saw that changes in demand and supply can lead to different outcomes for equilibrium price and quantity. By understanding these shifts, we can better analyze how markets respond to changes in economic conditions and predict the direction of price and quantity movements.